In 90 minutes from now, a court in the Caribbean island country of Dominica will decide the fate of fugitive Mehul Choksi, 6:30 p.m. over his extradition back to India, or whether he stays put in Dominica or he is sent back to the neighboring Caribbean nation of Antigua, where he's been living for the last few years. Indian authorities say that they've gathered documents including Mehul Choksi's Aadhaar, his PAN, his ration card, to prove that the fugitive businessman never gave up his Indian citizenship. Here's the latest from Dominica.
It's the great Caribbean chase. India's hunt for fraudster Mehul Choksi rests on what the Dominican Court will decide on Wednesday. Currently in jail for allegedly illegally entering Dominica, the fugitive, diamond heir, will be produced in court at around 6:30 p.m. India time. The Dominican Court will decide whether Choksi, wanted in the 13,000 crore PNB fraud, will be deported to India or will he be sent back to Antigua. Sources tell India Today that the Enforcement Directorate will file an application before the Dominican Court, detailing Choksi's crime and the grounds for his deportation. India is to prove that Choksi is an Indian citizen who never completed the formalities and paperwork to surrender his Indian citizenship while taking the citizenship of Antigua. To support the claims, Indian authorities have gathered documents including Choksi's Aadhaar, PAN, ration cards, which show that he is still an active Indian citizen. The documents will be submitted before the Dominican Court. Sources say that if court permits, the Enforcement Directorate will file this application to convince the court that the man in their custody is a wanted, accused since January 2018. And based on the red corner notice by Interpol, he should be deported back to India immediately. The ED officials are also trying to ensure that Choksi's case in Dominica should not get stuck in legalities, else it will be a long wait for India. Choksi, who now carries an Antiguan passport, disappeared mysteriously on May 23rd from Antigua. It is suspected that Choksi went on a romantic getaway with his girlfriend. His lawyer alleges that he was abducted and taken to Dominica as part of a conspiracy. Now all eyes are on the Dominican Court. Will India get hold of the fraudster who has been evading the law for 3 years? With Munish Pandey in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And joining me live with the only channel that is broadcasting and reporting live from Dominica and Antigua at this time, I have with me Gail Parillon. She is a reporter from Dominica. In fact, she's live from outside the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital, where Mehul Choksi currently is. Geeta, Mohan, our Foreign Affairs editor, and Munish Pandey, who's tracking the enforcement agencies on this case, are also with me. But Gail, I'd like to come to you first. You are standing outside the hospital where Mehul Choksi is currently admitted after he was arrested. He had received some injuries. In about 90 minutes from now, his fate, Gail, will be known, with the court pronouncing what happens. Take us through the latest, Gail.
Of course, thank you so much for tuning in. You're joining us live from outside the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital. Of course, as you previously stated, currently, Mehul Choksi is being held here as a patient. Today marks his 5th day being attended to. Of course, because of the gag order that has been issued by a Supreme Court judge, we cannot disclose full information about what may be going on. But we have confirmed with the medical staff here that he is currently a patient, of course, and he is being heavily guarded at the moment.
Being heavily guarded at the moment. Who is with him, Gail? Are his lawyers with him? Is there anyone with him at this time, or is he alone? Okay, we'll get back to Gail in just a moment. Gail is our reporter there in Dominica. Like I said, we're the only channel with reporters bringing us the latest as it happens from both Antigua and Dominica. Geeta, coming to you now. In just, in less than 2 hours from now, there's going to be clarity on the next steps. They've been unclear so far ever since the dramatic arrest of this fugitive, a few days ago. But now there should be some clarity. Take us through the scenarios. List for us the scenarios, Geeta.
Well, a very serious case indeed that Dominica is now going to the Dominican Court, which is going to hear the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court shift is going to hear the case. Now, the two sides are quite well prepared. There is the Indian side, which is now going to file an application and fight for Mehul Choksi's deportation. Why shift? Because they are now going to prove that he is an Indian citizen and is not an Antiguan citizen because he did not complete the process of relinquishing his citizenship. On the other hand, the Choksi's team of lawyers, they are now going to prove or trying to convince the court that the only thing that needs to be done is to move the Antiguan citizen back to, or repatriate him back to Antigua and Barbuda. Why? Because they will try to prove that he is an Antiguan citizen, and secondly, that there was no illegal entry. Remember, the case that's being heard today is on Mehul Choksi's illegal entry to Dominica, and everything else is only an addition or an application that is being filed later. Did he enter Dominica illegally or not? That is to be decided by the court and accordingly decide whether he'll be repatriated or deported.
Okay, deported or repatriated is what's going to happen. That's going to be clear. Those scenarios on your screen that you can read on the right-hand side of your screen. Gail, coming back to you. Sorry, we lost you there for a minute, but coming back to you, Gail, can you give us any more information about what's happening inside the hospital? Who is Mehul Choksi in touch with? Are there lawyers with him? Are there members of his team with him, or is he alone?
Okay, so of course, due to the gag order being ordered by the judge, at this time we are currently unable to deny or even confirm if there is currently a team of lawyers with him. As of right now, we are aware that they are going to be there at 9 a.m. at the court to plead his case. Of course, that will determine whether or not he's being deported back to Antigua or he's going to be handed over to the Indian government. But we are outside the hospital, keeping an eye close on the situation as it unfolds. Of course, if his lawyers do come by, we will make sure that we get that coverage for you guys. We will make sure that we keep a very close eye on the situation as it develops.
Absolutely.
But as of right
Gail, does I'm sorry, I didn't catch something that you said. Does Mehul Choksi and his team need to be present in court when the verdict is being read out, or will they not be in court?
Okay, so as it is commonplace here on the island of Dominica, of course, Mr. Choksi does not currently need to be at court.
Right.
The lawyers will be there on his behalf, pleading his case on his behalf. But he is currently in the hospital as we speak. They're behind me. Today marks his 5th day being held at the hospital. Of course, due to the gag order, we cannot explain the extent of what is going on with him. But we do know that he's currently here, and because of the heavy police presence, we cannot get into direct contact with Mr. Choksi. But we are keeping an eye out on the outside as everything develops. If anyone comes in to see him, of course, we'll make sure we get coverage of that for you.
Okay, very interesting. So you're saying that he doesn't need to be physically present for that verdict. His lawyers will be there, but he's inside now. Right. There is a large... and there's security around the hospital as well, Gail. You're saying that there is a police detail also around the hospital because this is a high-value prisoner, a high-value citizen that India wants.
Right, correct. So we have confirmation that he is actually being guarded. Of course, outside the hospital itself does not have police presence, but the police are with him at this current time.
Okay, I want to bring in Gail. Stay with me. I want to bring in my colleague from here in India, Munish Pandey, who's been tracking the enforcement agencies. And Gail, if you listen in for a bit, you might get some more information as well that might be helpful in your reporting from there in Dominica. Quick answer from you, Munish, before we play out a longer report. You've given us the full strategy of the Indian team. Can you detail for us who we have on the ground in Dominica right now, following up on this when the case verdict is read out in about 50 minutes from now?
Yeah, well, sure. There are 8 people from India who flew to Dominica from Delhi on May 28th. Now, these 8 people include 2 most important people. They are from the Central Bureau of Investigation, headed by a female officer named Sharda Raut. Now, Sharda Raut is heading this entire team of 8 members. Also, there are officers from Ministry of External Affairs. But what is going to be important for the Central Bureau of Investigation is that they will also be representing Enforcement Directorate. So both these agencies have strategized to convince the court that this man is a citizen of India, first. Second, this man is wanted in India. He has done some serious crime. And third, what they are trying to go, will try to convince that this man has a red corner notice against him, so he should be deported back to India immediately. So this is what they want to convince the Dominican court, because the Dominican authorities and the Antiguan authorities, they are already convinced that he should be deported back to India.
Okay, so this is the big guns. An 8-member team from India. Gail is there in Dominica. Not far from where you are right now. They are going to be there in court as well, trying to convince the judge that repatriation back to India needs to be the decision taken by the Dominican court. Take a look at this report that Munish has sent us, detailing what he just told us. Here's that 8-member team that's in Dominica. Endgame Mehul Choksi. An 8-member Indian team in Antigua to bring the fugitive back to Delhi if the Dominican court orders his extradition, that is. The team headed by CBI officer Sharda Raut, the leading officer in the 13,000 crore PNB scam in which Choksi is the key accused. India today has learnt that if Mehul Choksi, the scamster, is deported, then he will be brought to Delhi in this private jet by a team of officials, and Raut will formally arrest him as soon as he sets foot in Delhi. The Indian officials held several meetings with the Dominican authorities to ensure that India has a strong case. To mount the heat, the Central Financial Probe Agency is in touch with the Indian team in Dominica, and concrete evidence against Mehul Choksi has been shared with them. After a 3-year wait, could this be the beginnings of D-Day for Mehul Choksi, when India will get the fugitive back? With Munish Pandey in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today. But of course, you know, nothing is ever as easy as 1 + 2. There are certain legal challenges for India, and that's the reason why we've got this crack team from the enforcement agencies on the island of Dominica waiting for that verdict right now. Here are the legal challenges that might hinder the extradition process and could become advantage Mehul Choksi. Challenge number one is the abduction claim by Choksi's team. They've been saying from the start that Mehul Choksi was abducted from Antigua and taken to Dominica. Challenge number 2 are the injury marks on Choksi. These images of Choksi have gone viral on social media, on television. Everybody's seen these pictures, and the legal team of Choksi has basically used that as well as a kind of sympathy factor. You know, look how badly he's hurt. Obviously, this was done under duress, etc., etc. Another challenge is Choksi's Antiguan citizenship. He's been living there for the last 2.5 to 3 years, ever since he hightailed it out of India to escape legal action. And the last challenge is that Mehul Choksi has surrendered his Indian passport, although India argues that he has not completely given up his Indian citizenship. But those are challenges that need to be kept in mind as we build up to this verdict. Before we go to our reporters once again, let's tell you about what the Indian law says on citizenship, because that could be key to what happens at 6:30 p.m. According to Indian law, India does not allow dual citizenship. So Choksi cannot be a citizen of Antigua and India simultaneously. The law also states that anyone with foreign citizenship automatically loses Indian citizenship. And now, as per the law, Choksi is an Antiguan citizen. So where does that leave it? Does it muddy the waters as far as India's citizenship claim is concerned? Munish, you know, the fact that that Mehul Choksi is an Antiguan citizen who has surrendered his Indian passport, is the Indian enforcement agency's claim that he has not surrendered his Indian citizenship going to hold any water, given what the law states?
Yeah, well, sure, the citizenship is something which is the biggest hurdle for deportation or extradition of Mehul Choksi. But what Indian agencies claim, and this is very important, that is why I spoke to one very senior official from the government, and what he told me is that when you get a citizenship of any country, when you are awarded, in case of Mehul Choksi, he was awarded Antiguan citizenship in 2017 November. Now, at that point of time, he was supposed to complete some paperwork, but because he fled from India in January 28, those paperwork were never completed, the formalities were never completed, and that is why till date, as of today, he is still an Indian citizenship. Also, apart from that, there are documents like ration card, there is Aadhaar card, PAN card, all these documents still claims that he is still an active Indian citizen. And that is why an affidavit, which will be submitted by the Enforcement Directorate before the Dominican Court, these points will be proved in black and white. There are documents to prove that Mehul Choksi is Antiguan citizen. Apart from that, Antigua is also going to support India's claim because Antigua has already told the Dominican authorities, also probably they are going to tell the Dominican court that this man has got our citizenship illegally based on the forged document, so he should be given back to India. So these are the ground reality. Mehul Choksi may claim whatever he wants, but in black and white, India government is going to tell Dominican court is that he is an Indian citizen, and these are the evidence to prove that he is lying and he should be deported back to India.
Okay, that's the big hurdle that it is makes it very, very difficult to predict one way or the other how things can go legally. But the good news is that there will be clarity hopefully in an hour from now. Geeta and Munish, thank you very much for joining me. 1 hour, just little over an hour from now, the court in Dominica will decide whether Mehul Choksi will be extradited back to India, sent back to Antigua, or stays put in Dominica. There's a mystery surrounding his trip to Dominica. His legal team says he was abducted and taken there. The Antiguan government says he was off on a pleasure cruise with his girlfriend. And the center of all this is that girlfriend, this woman. The Antiguan Prime Minister claims this woman is Choksi's girlfriend, romantic relationship, and that they were on a romantic getaway to Dominica. What is the truth, and what do we know really about this woman who on the other side has been accused of abducting him to take him out of Antigua? Geeta, Mohan and Munish tell you more. A pleasure trip with his girlfriend on a yacht, lured by a woman and then abducted to Dominica, or escape to Cuba gone horribly wrong. Mehul Choksi missing from the Caribbean nation Antigua and surfacing in Dominican custody 2 days later. Replete with multiple unanswered questions, claims and counters. India today has learned that Choksi was indeed with a girl when he landed in Dominica, and that it appears to be a case of being honey-trapped. Sources say the woman was staying in Antigua and sometime back started meeting Mehul Choksi during his morning and evening walks. She also befriended him and later, on May the 23rd, called him to an apartment to meet her. But when Choksi reached the apartment, many people were already there who allegedly abducted, kidnapped and took Mehul Choksi to Dominica, where he was arrested. Choksi's lawyers, however, say the girl was part of the team which was involved in the alleged abduction and torture of Choksi.
महिला थी जो उनके पड़ोस में आके रहती थी और फिर उन्होंने शिफ्ट कर लिया था, तो उनकी फैमिली में भी आना जाना था. इवनिंग में वॉक पे मिल जाते थे दोनों आपस में. तो जो है इन्होंने, वो लेडी पहले शिफ्ट हुई थी और जो पूरा पता चल रहा है कि वो भी इस ऑपरेशन का हिस्सा थी. तो इनको ट्रैप करने के लिए वो लेडी को सीड किया गया था.
The revelation comes days after Antiguan Prime Minister Gaston Brown claimed that Mehul Choksi had fled to Dominica on a romantic trip with his girlfriend.
The information that we're getting now is that he may have taken his girlfriend to Dominica, probably to dinner to have a good time and so on. and got caught. Now, that would have been a monumental error.
Choksi may also have used forged papers to escape Antigua with his girlfriend. India Today spoke to the travel firm believed to have ferried him to Antigua. The firm under fire now claims it never transported Choksi or his girlfriend.
Based on the photos that are circulating, I did not see anybody of that look on this particular boat, or not the boat or anybody that we did clearances for. Nevertheless, this boat that came in did not have any woman on board.
Choksi's Caribbean caper is no less than a Bollywood thriller. Did the star fraudster himself fall victim to an elaborate fraud, or staged an elaborate stunt to hoodwink India once again? With Geeta, Mohan in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today. So who is Mehul Choksi? The name is very familiar, but some of our viewers may need reminding of the long trail of criminality in this man's wake. And this is the reason why India is sending a crack team to a remote Caribbean island nation to make sure that we bring him back to face justice. He's wanted in India in connection with the 13,500 crore rupee Punjab National Bank loan scam. Here's our report on the rise and hopefully the fall of this big fraudster.
आज हम और आगे तक बढ़ा रहे हैं स्वर्ण भारत की तीन
An event was held on 5th of November 2015 at the Prime Minister's house to unveil gold schemes, to tap into the yellow metal lying idle at Indian homes.
भारत स्वर्णिम युग के आगे बढ़े और आपका 20,000 टन सोना भारत के स्वर्णिम युग की ओर जाने के लिए काफी है, ऐसा मेरा विश्वास है.
Amongst the guests at the PM house that day was a diamond trader and jeweler from Mumbai, a certain Mehul Choksi.
ना ही बड़ा शोरूम होगा, हमारे मेहुल भाई यहाँ बैठे हैं.
Now, 6 years later, the same Mehul Choksi is no longer a celebrated diamond trader, but is an alleged fraudster, accused of a 13,000 crore scam and under arrest in faraway Dominica. The Indian government, under his one-time host, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is trying to bring Mehul Choksi back to India to face trial. Mehul Choksi was born on 5th of May 1959 in Mumbai. Mehul's father, Chinubhai Choksi, was a diamond trader and operated Gitanjali Gems, a well-known diamond jewelry chain in the city. Mehul learned the trade under his father and then, in 1985, took over the 50 crore business from Chinubhai. He used to say that his dream was to make Gitanjali Gems the largest diamond jewelry chain in the world. Mehul Choksi's style of doing business was aggressive, taking risks and cutting corners. By the 1990s, it was paying off. And by the early 2000s, he was well on his way to fulfill his dreams. By 2005, Mehul Choksi's diamond and gem-studded jewelry were being sold at more than 4,000 outlets around the world. By 2006, he had even bought over a well-known US firm and had begun to be noticed internationally. It was around this time that a son of his Antwerp-based relative came to Mumbai as Mehul's understudy to learn how the diamond trade went in India. It has been alleged that Nirav Modi came here to learn the dirty tricks of the trade from Mehul Choksi. Sources say it started with the passing of poor quality diamonds as original good quality ones. An investigation by the Enforcement Directorate later established that the original cost of Mehul Choksi's diamonds were a mere 3 to 10% of the price that he charged his customers. In business, there can be ups and downs. And it was true of Mehul Choksi's business as well. His Gitanjali group of companies suffered huge hits in 2016 and 2017. It is alleged that it was at this point in time that Mehul Choksi, along with Nirav Modi, hatched a plan to siphon off money from the Punjab National Bank. The plan was simple in its mastery. On paper, Mehul Choksi and Nirav Modi had a good business track record and their credit rating was above suspicion. So the duo allegedly bribed one Gokulnath Shetty, an employee of the Punjab National Bank, to register a forged letter of undertaking. Using the letter of undertaking, Mehul Choksi and Nirav Modi got more than 13,000 crore rupees from the Punjab National Bank in 2017, only to launder it and to siphon it off. Using forged documents, Mehul Choksi got an all-clear report from Mumbai police that established him as a good citizen and that he had no pending criminal cases against him. Sources from within India's investigative setup now say that in reality, Mehul Choksi already had cases pending against him at several courts in India at this time. In November 2017, using his Mumbai police clean chit, Mehul Choksi applied for and got the citizenship of Antigua and Barbuda under the investment scheme there. In January 2018, Mehul Choksi left India for USA. This was just days before the CBI filed an FIR against Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi and others in the PNB case. There are whispers that he was tipped off. In June 2018, a Mumbai court issued a non-bailable warrant against Mehul Choksi. But when India contacted US authorities to extradite Mehul Choksi, it was found that the fugitive diamond trader had already left USA a month ago. Mehul Choksi surfaced in Antigua, flaunting his brand new Caribbean nationality away from the reach of India's law enforcement agencies.
So remember, 1 hour from now, the fate of Mehul Choksi will be known. We've got reporters in Dominica and Antigua, the only channel reporting on the big build-up of the story. Non-stop coverage here on India Today.